it turns out there's a lot that hunter-gatherers, foragers, and likely our ancestors have to teach us about really good, authentic leadership. We have today a kind of perception that you can tell from, especially from like corporate North America, that good leadership is this top-down hierarchy, and it's softened, right, in the past 20 or 30 years, but it is hierarchical, and it's sort of like, if you go back even a little bit deeper, it's like the strongest chimp is the one that leads, right? There's this alpha male concept, right? The boss is your dominant, you are subordinate, if we're to put it into primatological terms, right? Turns out when you live with hunter-gatherers, though, leadership is almost the opposite. You flip it on its head. It's not dominance hierarchies, it's prestige hierarchies in a natural context where there's a camp that's banded together for survival and reproduction. Their main currency, it's not, a dollar, it's not money, it's not stored human energy via this abstract. It's food, it's calories, right? So it really, really matters if they make calories, i.e. their version of money and subsistence. So leadership in these societies is something really distinct and different. And what it means is that those who really embody the norms and the symbols and the abstracts of that group and have the skills for that moment are then contextually put into leadership roles. But it's not he or she is the boss. It's, oh, we're naturally going to defer with the individual with the most prestige. But prestige isn't assigned from fiat or top down by a deity. It is literally earned from the bottom up. It's those who give the most and sacrifice the most, who demonstrate the most altruism, who demonstrate the most interest in the group above themselves, that are usually de facto just simply given leadership responsibilities. If we were in a post-apocalyptic world, right, that's actually how leadership would emerge. You would get some dominance hierarchies, but most of the cases, and in fact, it might be contextual. Maybe it's like if there's a conflict, like a violent conflict, you might momentarily shift leadership to the more dominant individuals in your environment. But for day-to-day stuff, hunting, gathering, politics, etc., those who give the most, and interestingly, those who embody the most, are given that mantle of leadership. I can give a relatively recent example. So if you think of Gandhi and his capacity as a leader, you don't think of Gandhi and think of like a dominant individual, right? But the reason why he's admired the world over for his leadership ability is because he embodied it. He physically embodied the symbols of the movement. So this was the spinning yarn. And later in his life, he stopped wearing Western style clothing and he just adopted this spun yarn cloth, very simple adornment that mobilizes people because symbolically he was admitting he's part of this movement. He's part of these people. He identifies as these people, and he inspired them to follow him, not coerced them. And there's a lot that the modern workplace and a lot that organizations in the 21st century can learn from that style of leadership.